Hi, my name is Tiana Mattos, and I'm talking arts and crafts with Bo. I'm a surfboard glasser for Maker Surfboards, a company that my husband and I own. Formerly, we were called Aqua Dump Productions. So most people might not know what that means, but
well, we know what that means.
So usually when a surfboard is made, there's generally a shaper, and then there's like a glassing facility. So they do. Usually it's two separate facilities. Generally, that's how it is. Some places will do it all, but for most shapers will shape their surfboards and then have a separate glasser glass them for them. So, yeah.
Did you mean to get into this?
No, I didn't mean to. Sorry, my upper lip was
I'm sweating too. I'm sweating so bad.
I was not planning on ever glassing. It never even was a thought in my mind. I went to school to become a social worker and a psychologist. So that's kind of the path that I was heading on. And after I had my daughter, I just did not want to, I don't know. I didn't want to do that. And my husband started shaping boards, and he was just asking me what do I want to try, and I was like, I really want to try glassing boards. And I did it once and fell in love and really had a gift for it, and yeah, just kind of have been doing it ever since. I've surfed for over 10 years, and I had no idea anything about surfboard building and glassing. I just did not. I was very ignorant and naive to it. So if people in the surf community are naive to it, then I would assume people outside of the surf community are too. Right now, I have like a little workshop in our backyard. It's pretty small. It only has one rack for me to work on, but usually, I mean, the tools are so minimum for glassing, which is kind of nice. The tools and the materials are pretty minimum. So basically, we have fiberglass cloth that we drape over the shaped foam, and then we have resin and pigment or tint, depending on what people want. And we have squeegees and razor blades and brushes and buckets. That's like generally really all you need. And sandpaper. You need a lot of sandpaper because you have to like sand the board and stuff to make it nice and smooth before each step of laying on the resin. And there's other like little specialty tools that each glasser, I've come to realize that they've come to either craft themselves or like, jerry rig themselves to make their make it easier for them. And everybody has kind of like their own version of it, and that part is pretty cool to see. So like you'll see people make their own like cutters with the razor blades, like actual like mechanism that holds the razor blades for them to cut, or mark the foam, or like little rollers. I've seen like so many different versions of like rollers that people like press down parts of the board with. That's pretty cool to see, because I've gone through like several of those, still trying to find the best one for me. So
there's a lot of trial and error and researching other people's. A lot of
trial and error, because a lot of things in the glassing world is very like hush hush. Like a lot of people don't like to share their like mana'o or their knowledge, and it's a bummer. And it really forces you to be creative and think outside the box. But I've been blessed to have several people that have been pretty generous with, their decades of experience, and really helping me out, because I'm a female and I've somehow got into their realm or their radar, and they really wanted to help me become the best that, you know, I could be. So, because there's not a lot of girls in this field. I've also come around a lot of guys that are like not very nice.
Why do you think that's the case?
I don't know. I think pride is a part of it. You know, there's, you know, this young woman who doesn't have a whole lot of experience that's, you know, coming into the, you know, glassing scene here on the island, which is not that big, but it's big enough that, you know, people will notice if there's a newcomer. And so people are very, what's the word? Not scared.
Territorial?
Territorial about, you know, feeling like you're stealing their business away, or especially somebody that they feel like is getting a lot of like recognition for what they're doing. So it's a bummer, because you kind of want people to be like, wow. Like, you want other craftsmen and people who are recognized in the field to look at you and be like, wow, you're doing some good stuff, good job. But instead they're like, you know,
maybe threatened. They're
definitely threatened, or they threaten to like turn you in or something. You know, doing business in your backyard. But, you know, we're registered and stuff, but it's just, you know, you just start getting like, oh my gosh, I better make sure
everything has to be,
my ducks are in a row or whatever. So if somebody tries to like turn you in, it's not like you're okay. But I just try to stay out of the drama, and that's why we like doing it in our backyard. Like, a lot of people, you know, most of the people that do my type of work are all located in pretty much one area, which is in Haiku.
Really?
Yeah. So it's because there's a lot more open warehouse space, because, you know, our line of work has a lot of fumes, and you have to wear respirators, and there's just, you know, it's hard to find warehouse space that's, the surrounding businesses are okay with resin fumes and stuff like that. And so Haiku is pretty much primarily where most of the glassers are located, but I definitely don't ever want to be over there, because it's just the drama and the politics. I just want to do my own thing and be stoked, and I'm always stoked for other people's stuff. Like, I'm always like, oh man, that's a sick board, like, cool. But and if people want to say what they want to say about my stuff, I'm like, whatever.
I've followed you on Instagram and other social media, so I get to see kind of like pieces of how like different prints have inspired different designs. But typically, who gets to decide how the board is designed as you glass it? Is that all you? Do you get it from your client?
Sometimes we have a mix. So we have some clients that are totally like, I want you to do whatever I want. So, funny story, the first board that I ever, my first board order that I ever did, the client, he was a friend of ours, and he was just like, man, Tiana, I feel so blessed that, you know, I'm your first board order, like, customer, and I want you to do whatever you want, like, full freedom. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I did this really cool design that, you know, I have never seen before, and man, and it looked so good, and it was like this yellow and brown and tan swirl, and just like, you know, I taped it off really nice, and it was just like, it was amazing. And I delivered the board, and the guy was like, man, this is such an amazing design, but the one color I hate is yellow. I just thought, he was so amazing about it. He was stoked. Like, he was stoked, and I was glad he was honest, because it was a very big learning lesson to me that even when customers or people give you complete freedom, you still have to ask, like, parameter questions, like, what are the colors that you hate and you do not want to see on the board? So I make sure I ask that question every single time. And so I was glad that I learned that from a friend who is very gracious with, you know, because some people might have been like, I don't want to keep this board, like, I want you to remake it because I really hate that color. So I was glad that he was, you know, awesome and received it well. And I learned a lot. But so we get customers that are like that are like complete freedom, or they're like, you know, I like these specific colors and I don't like these colors, and I like clean and I don't like abstract. So they give me some kind of parameters. Or I get people that are like, show me a picture and like, I want this exact thing. And then, you know, usually I have to tell them, well, it's not going to look exactly like that. That's the whole beauty of having something custom, is I can take that and take inspiration, especially if it's like another person's board. Because that's like one thing is like, the beauty of coming and getting custom artwork is that you're not gonna, like, I don't, as an artist, want to replicate somebody else's custom artwork. Because I feel like I would be like stealing their stuff. Like, I can take inspiration from it, but it's like, the whole point of coming to us is that you can get a one-of-a-kind, you know, custom board that's functional, but also is like beautiful, that just only you are gonna have, you know. And so, you know, there's sometimes where we have to tell some people that we're like, oh, wait, I'm not gonna do it exactly like that, but it'll have that same feel and it'll be something completely different that only you will have. Or we have people that look at on our page and it's like, I want that exact board that you made for somebody else. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I can do something similar, or something in like a different color, like the same design but a different color, or, you know. So we have like we have people that bring us color swatches, and it's like, you know, that's a big thing that like we do, that it kind of sets us apart from a lot of people, is that we try so hard to mix and match colors perfectly. So somebody can go and pick like a color swatch from Lowe's, like from the paint section, and we will match it pretty close to, and that's something that we offer, and we take the time to do that kind of stuff. And that's like my favorite part, is I'll take hours like mixing colors, like custom colors. I have like this little box with cards that I, you know, put the little resin on, and I write how I got that color mixture. And
that's awesome. So you're actually documenting your process along the way so that you can replicate that process faster.
Yeah, something. So, you know, we only have pretty much primary colors to work with. So it's like I have to hand mix. You know, somebody comes and wants like this teal aqua color. It's like I got to try and mix blue and yellow to make that color, blue, yellow, and white to make this random color. Or, you know, we get a lot of people like tans and skin tones. Like, that's been kind of like a big thing lately, like the nudes. And those colors are so hard to mix sometimes, but because it's not like you can get, you know, turquoise tint and just add white or black to kind of like tone it down. Or it's like, you know, you're working with red, blue, yellow, white, black.
This might sound dumb, but what kind of tint or paint?
There's like a special tint and pigment that the local supply store for resin and surfboards that they carry that works with the resin. So you have to get special, you can't just get like paint from the store. You have to get actual stuff that is made for working and mixing in with resin. So
like it would not like set, or
yeah, or it would cause the resin to not adhere to the board. So then which it would look nice probably for the first year, and then after that the whole board would just start falling apart because all the resin and stuff would start like bubbling up and coming off. Cause
fantastic.
Yeah, so those are kind of stuff that we had to learn the hard way. Like, you know, there's thankfully a lot of the lessons we've learned were on our own personal boards, because we try to, like, if we want to branch out and experiment, we try to do that on our own boards, so that way if we screw up, it's not like
a customer.
Yeah, a customer, and then our reputation is like, oh my gosh, like, don't go to them. I think for us, because we work together and we're husband and wife, it's very unique in and people say there's no one else that is like a husband and wife team that does glassing and shaping. I don't want to say that as a fact, but there's nobody else that I know of, and a lot of other people have never heard of anybody else. We're kind of like the only ones that do that. And it's a blessing, and then also it comes with its own challenges. So it's cool that we get to work together, and you know, a lot of times because we're so passionate, both so passionate about what we do, it's like us spending so much time doing what we do is not that much of a hindrance because we're always together doing it. So it's not like I never see him or stuff like that. But it's also because Joey also knows how to glass, and he does some of the glassing too sometimes if we get really busy. That's probably where the biggest challenges come in, is when I feel like he's kind of like stepping on my territory. And we've had to like work through that because, you know, a lot of times we have very different opinions about what we like and what we don't like. So when I'm given complete freedom for a board, usually the designs and the things that in my mind I'm like, oh, I want to create this or I want to try this. It's not in Joey's mind what he likes or what he would do. And it's been a process for us to work through him realizing that just because he doesn't like it doesn't, like the board, I'm not making the board for him, I'm making it for somebody else. So just because he doesn't like it doesn't mean it's not nice, or that somebody else isn't going to like it, or I like it. I wouldn't make something that I don't like, that I was given complete freedom on. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you know, I think I'm gonna try this that I just think is ugly. So, and you know, people that know my husband know that he's very like bold in speaking his opinion, and can be very does not hold back. So it's not like he'll be like, oh yeah, okay, you can try that. He's the kind of guy that's like, don't do that, that's ugly, that'll be ugly, I don't like it. And I'm just like, oh. So that's been the biggest challenge for us, is navigating that. And the funny part is that I don't want to say every time, but I would say probably 98% of the time that he has disagreed and thought that it wasn't like, oh, that's not really nice, or his style. At the end, he's like, wow, this actually turned out really good. And I'm like, you know, one day you'll learn. You know, I'm going to be honest, like, I know zero about shaping. I know zero. I mean, I know more than somebody who, you know, doesn't surf. But, you know, even in the surfing realm, I don't know a whole lot about board design and shaping. Like, I leave that to Joey. But sometimes I'll walk in the room and I'll be like, oh, yeah, what is that right there? Blah, blah, blah. And he just, like, fully is like, don't come in here and start questioning me. It's a lot more difficult.
It's personal.
Because it's personal, and because it's like, you know, I don't want to be corrected by my husband in something that I'm so passionate about. And I feel like that's the difference, is like, when you're doing something that you're passionate about and that is like your art and your creativity and your inspiration, if somebody comes and like tries to like critique it, oh man, it's just like all these walls go up. Like, who the F do you think you are?
He's probably like, what is it?
Yeah.
Hi.
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 Yeah, thanks for interrupting.
No, you can come here.
You can
I
come.
couldn't see you guys.
But yeah, it does make it's hard to stay humble and be open to constructive criticism when sometimes it's harder coming from your spouse. But you know, we've gotten a lot better, because there's been times where it's just like you just kind of want to throw in the towel, not with each other but with the business. You're like, oh, it's not worth it, it's not worth the drama, it's not worth the tension it's creating between us. But you know, we always work through it, and it's like, it is such a beautiful thing that we are two people that are so passionate about the same thing and that strive for perfection in that same craft. And in the end, I have to realize that's where it's coming from. It's not coming from a place of, oh, like, you suck and I just want to put you down. It's like, no, like, I love this as much as you, and I just want to make sure it's the best that it can be. And in the end, I appreciate the fact that Joey really is my biggest cheerleader. So he's like, for all the, you know, stress and idiosyncrasies that we have to work through, or the critiques I may have to take, like, at the end of the day, he's like honestly the one that's like, yeah, she's the best. Like, he's just like, he talks me up way more than he probably should. Sometimes I'm like, you're kind of exaggerating at this point, and I don't want people to get their expectations too high about me. I'm not a magician. That's a lot of times that's how he like feels. Like, he's just like, man, you're the best. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool to have somebody really genuinely think, wow, you're the best. In my mind, I'm like, I know I'm technically not the best, because there are a lot of people that are way better than me. But in his eyes, I am the best. And, you know, I can be the best in one person's eyes. I would say that one thing that I've come to realize is that there is a lot of information out there. Sometimes, and it's very intimidating about, you know, what you need to do about business and all of this stuff. And sometimes it's hard to know what is a trusted source, what is, you know, what isn't, or what pertains to me and what doesn't. And I think one of the things that I have come to learn and appreciate is talking to other like small business owners, like local small business owners, people, you know, who are thriving, and people who may be struggling, and just having conversations with them. And that has been something that Joey and I have come to appreciate a lot, is talking to other business owners about the struggles, about the process of expanding, the process of, you know, even when you want to expand but you feel like things just suck right now, like, what do you do? And just, you know, even, oh gosh, taxes, that's another thing. Business, talk to somebody who is educated and prepare yourself for taxes. I would say going online was a nightmare for us. Going online and trying to learn taxes stuff online was not fun, because there's just like so much confusing stuff. Like, find somebody who you can talk to about taxes. I don't know if that's answering your question.
Yeah, no.
That's like one thing is like,
the nuts and bolts is when, like, the unexpected things that keep
yes,
people from doing their own thing is saying, like, it's possible. It's just,
once you start getting into like taxes or, you know, registering and stuff, that's like where things felt like it was moving so slow for us, because we were like, we had no idea where to start, and we had no idea what information that was online was trustworthy or correct for like what we were trying to do, because it's like, you know, it all depends on what kind of business you're gonna run, like if you're sole proprietor, LLC, all of this stuff, and a lot of it just was very confusing for people who just are very naive to that realm. And that was probably been one of the biggest hurdles for us, is getting educated with taxes. So talk to other small business owners about the trials and the struggles. And it doesn't have to be people that are even in your same line of work, but it's good to be able to do that too. And a big thing for us was realizing how to work, you know, the cliche saying, how to work smarter, not harder. And a lot of times it's like you want to go into things, you know, on your own and figure things out on your own. And if there are resources or, you know, avenues for you to connect with other small business owners, like here on Maui, there's this, you know, group called the Maui Collective that you're able to like sign up for, and it's just a bunch of small business owners from every spectrum, like just starting out, or people who are just thinking about it, they haven't even started, to people who are very well established and successful, and they come together every couple months and they have like a little gathering in a meeting, and they have a speaker about, you know, something different every time. Sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's communication, sometimes it's, you know, whatever it is. And that has been a very valuable tool for us, to be able to be a part of something like that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other, most cities have something like that. You just got to find it.
Yeah.
But that's been a huge tool for us too.
The shift from Aquadump Productions to
Yes.
Maker, like giving yourself room to say, we're something else now.
Yep. And because that was a scary like moment, season for us, was that transition, because we had a lot of people tell us that's not a good business move to make, is to totally rebrand everything, your name, everything. And a lot of people were just like, don't do it. It's like not gonna work for you. Like most businesses don't recover from something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, before that, everybody was telling us, oh, you don't like your name, blah, 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 blah. And then you just realize, well, you can't please everybody. Sometimes you do what you want to do, and then it just totally miserably fails. And then you learn.
Sure.
And you move on.
Yeah.
And you just got to move on. There's been so many things that, that's another thing. There's so many things that, mistakes that we've made, like moves that we've tried to make that were not successful for us. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to try something different and for it to not work and to move on. I mean, obviously there's always risk.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, the risk is usually money. There's always, and that's a scary thing when you don't have a lot of that, when you don't have a lot of capital right now. And, but, so you do have to be wise, but it's like you can't limit yourself because of the fear of not trying, because then you get stuck.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to find a balance of what avenues can we take the risk and try things. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but then you learn a lot. Sorry, let me scratch my eye first. A quote that Joy and I really try to run our business, and it's something that too brings us some kind of reminder of perfection is just not, it's just not realistic. And but that you never learn anything from a job well done. So even when, you know, we do something and then there's a mistake, or we realize, oh man, that did not work out, or oh wow, there's imperfections in a board, it's like we take that and we apply the knowledge that we learned for the next board, and it makes it a little easier to take in sometimes. Because you know, if you have like a perfectionist mindset, which a lot of artists do, failure is so hard to take sometimes. Failure is very hard to take. So we are our worst critic. So it's a way for us to be a little bit gentler with ourselves. Gentler. I think for me personally, I would want to be remembered. I guess it's kind of hard because I would say it's kind of like both. Like I want to be remembered by this, and I want our company to be remembered by this. But I just think integrity is like a huge thing. It's, you know, that we always stay true to providing quality products for people that come to us for surfboards. We want to always never sacrifice, you know, quality for trying to expand or trying to make more money or trying to make more quantity. And that's something that we've always wanted to stay true to, is that when people come to us, they know that they're going to get, you know, a board that's going to last them as long or, you know, longer than any other board that they've ever had. And it's gonna look really cool too. That's like another thing is like, you know, we want to be remembered for people that, or as people that did stuff that nobody else wanted to do. That people could come to us because everybody else told them no, but we said yes. Because our true desire is to always make people their dream board. That's like our heart's desire all the time is for them to come and say, wow, like you guys, this is my dream board. You know, and we get people that are, they just want a board. And that's cool. That's fun too sometimes. And there's beauty in that too. And, you know, sometimes that's taken for granted. But yeah, integrity, being able to make people their dream boards. And I think for us, one thing that we've come to realize, which initially wasn't like, personally, that's something we always wanted to personally be known as, but we realized that we really want it connected to the business is we want our business to be known as like just very generous and for the people. Like we never want to be known as the business that was just, you know, out for themselves or, you know, we get a lot of people that are stoked on what we do, but you know, they can't afford, you know, making surfboards is not cheap. Making dream surfboards is not cheap. And we understand that. And that's why we've always tried to make our price point a lot more affordable than what anybody else would charge.
For what you're making.
For what we're making. And it's like we don't want to, you know, degrade the value of what we do, but we also don't want to make it so that way, you know, in order to get something from us, you have to be filthy rich, you know, or spend your life savings. And so we can be generous in that way, or we can be generous in, you know, just doing stuff for the community, the surf community, and those that we come in contact with, even in the water. Like, we just always want people to look at us and they're like, man, those people from Maker Surfboards, they're amazing. They're generous. They're kind.
Generous.
Yeah, so we try to do that.
I can say that you have. Come on in. You're good. Hello. Well, we love you. We see that. Like, you don't have to wait 50 years for that to be what the legacy you guys are known for. It's already unfolding. That the way you guys have built it and the way you guys have shared it has been very, I would say, generous is a perfect word.
Awesome.
So you've laid generous roots, and I feel like it'll just keep growing that way. And you guys hustle.
Yes.
And you have really cool shoes.
Yeah, no. Oh, look, my shoes match your socks.
Oh, we should swap. Students are always like, your socks are like so spastic. Like, my mom, last Christmas, she gave me like 10 pairs.
Yeah.
I was like, I wear them all the time.
Last year was a sock. I almost wore the socks that she gave me last year for Christmas. They were cat ninja socks.
I had some Abraham Lincolns, and I'd wear them with like formal outfits.
Yep, that's actually.
Which I'm sure it always freaks people out. It's like cross my.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, hello, babe.
You're like, hello. Hello.
I'm sophisticated.
I love you, Tiana.
I love you too.
You do good stuff.
Thank you.
My dad's about to pop out the car. Hi, Dad.
I hear somebody calling me. Don't point.